Well, if you attended Monday Night Raw in Madison Square Garden last night, I'd say you got your money's worth. Now, if you were front row and you paid maybe $5,000, $10,000 to be there, I mean, that might be a little bit of a stretch. But if you were just in one of the regular seats, lower or upper level, you got your money's worth in one of the most star-studded Raws in recent memory. How many returns? We get 4, 5, 6 returns. We got 2 title changes. I mean, it was a jam-packed Raw that I have to say I feel bad for those of you in Oklahoma City. I believe it's Oklahoma City next week for Monday Night Raw, where you know you're not going to get anywhere near this level of a Monday Night Raw. WWE always puts their best foot forward when they're in the Garden. This was no exception. In fact, this actually exceeded a lot of other previous Raws and live events that have been in the Garden, with star power and returns, and overall just a very good night for WWE, a very critically acclaimed night, and just crazy what can happen and what the reaction is when you bring stars back. Yes, there are a lot of aging stars and stars of yesteryear. We understand that, but a lot of it was well done and well executed. Not everything. Yes, there are criticisms, of course, and critiques and things that I'm going to have to go through. But generally, I don't have a ton to complain about. And I mean, I don't know how you could with this version of a Raw that, again, you can't, if you are attending live, as I said, in Oklahoma City next week, I apologize because Brock's probably not going to be there. Roman's probably not going to be there. John Cena is not going to be there for sure. Dolph Ziggler is probably not going to be there, as that was a one-off. You got a very much an explosive Raw, and then it's going to be pushed back down to kind of where it's been, I think, next week. Now, that may be countered a bit with the idea that you have War Games coming up very soon, less than 2 weeks now till War Games. So there is that, and they have to continue to push that and make that feel important, as the men's War Games match is just turning out to be an incredibly star-studded match, maybe one of the most star-studded matches that I remember for War Games. So that's continuing to push. The women's War Games match is continuing to push forward. We have a 5-on-5 traditional match, Survivor Series elimination match coming up, I believe, next Friday night. So that's something to look forward to as well. But this is a hell of a Raw. We're going to go through all of it. Alexa Bliss's promo, the what chants, some accusations that the what chants are disproportionately affecting the women, according to Sean Ross Sapp, who is I think an overrated, overexposed reporter for wrestling, and who has just horrific views in my estimation about other things other than wrestling. Another topic for another day, but his idea about women being disproportionately affected by the what chants. Where's the evidence? Or is it just that you want to pretend that all women are victims and you're just prescribing to your other beliefs? I mean, I don't see it. Ask Solo Sikoa last week about that. And also the what chants in general have been fading. And also the women's revolution was spearheaded by men who are the dominant demographic that make up the WWE audience. Yeah, beyond that, sure. Because the men are just so chauvinistic that they want to interrupt all women for the what chants. The dude's a freaking moron. Anyway, there's a little bit of spiciness to get us going here on this Tuesday, November 18th, 2025, as we jump into Raw. And don't forget, you can go ad-free at patreon.com/WWE podcast. You can also go to ad-free listening on Apple. You can go do ad-free listening on Spotify. Just search for us. We are there with your ad-free needs, because there's going to be a lot more ads as we head towards the holiday season. And that's how you get rid of them, if you want to just zap them all and you don't have to worry about it. So let's start with Raw, because Raw started hot. You knew John Cena was coming out first. And by the way, there were 18,134 tickets sold, from what I understand. It was a sellout, and it should be. So John Cena comes out. The Intercontinental Champion, John Cena, I should say, comes out. Massive pop, as expected, as deserved. He stood on an entrance and pointed to the fans, and he said, "Let's go to work, Stu," the cameraman. Runs to the ring. Fans chanted, "Thank you, Cena." and Taylor introduced him as one of the greatest of all time. I'm sorry, not one of the greatest. I totally disagree with that, but because again, greatest is incredibly subjective. But it was his final appearance, and is his final appearance on Raw. I don't believe that. As I've said, I don't believe any of this in terms of just appearances, not wrestling, but appearances. As I've mentioned many times, I think it's nonsense. Because think about it: if John Cena goes also into the Hall of Fame, John Cena is going to be coming out. Say he's heading up WrestleMania 42, 43 next year. If he's at the head of the class for 2027 or 2027, yeah, then he has to be coming out at WrestleMania because all the inductees for the Hall of Fame come out during WrestleMania. So, I mean, already, it's total nonsense and total BS that John Cena is never going to make an appearance again, if that's what you believe. Again, his in-ring days, yes, I believe are done, but I just want to clarify. So, let's get back to Raw. He said he appreciated the enthusiasm, and New York City makes and breaks careers. And he said the champ is here. And he said it was the last time they could talk together at Madison Square Garden and on Raw. He said it's bittersweet for some, very important moment for him. Again, I'm sorry, I don't believe it. He will be on Raw at some point in his life again. For a general manager, co-general, well, probably for a night, he'll be on there in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. He might come back for again, I don't believe it. He's still too young to not expect some kind of appearance. I don't believe it. It's just, you and I have watched wrestling long enough to know that even when guys say I'm done, I'm never wrestling again, talk to Stone Cold Steve Austin, talk to The Rock, talk to The Undertaker, for God's sakes. How did all of their for sure retirements go? Every single one of them have done something physical, if not had a match, since they said they retired. All of them. Okay? Triple H would still be wrestling if he could, if he didn't have his heart issue. So I don't buy it at all. Neither should you. The dude's not dying. You will see him again. So we then had Dom come out, interrupt Cena pretty quick. And he said, as he was being booed, he said, no one wanted to hear what Cena had to say. I love this kid. He said Cena was handed a title shot just like he's been handed everything else. Dom said he's had to work for everything he has and he wants a rematch. Cena played to the live crowd about having a match on the spot, and Dom got in Cena's face and said no. And Dom said they already did things Cena's way, and he said Cena had his hometown and management on his side. And he told the Netflix viewers that the fans were chanting Cocoa Fun Chips or Choco Fun Chips, whatever. I mean, he knows that the shut the F up was being censored, so he's trying to be funny. Cena has never been able to organically be funny, and that is one consistent criticism I have been able to share with you over the years. I don't like funny John Cena. It's the worst version of him by a long shot. I like serious Cena. I like kind of like mellow Cena. I like any version of John Cena, angry, sad, not funny. Comedian Cena is just horrific. But it didn't last long because other than the do you feel lucky punk, Cena asked, we had Finn Balor and JD McDonough come out, and Dom told Cena that he wouldn't get his final match on Raw. He'd get his ass beat. And they all attacked him. The Judgment Day trio attacked him. Yes, the Judgment Day is still a thing, despite in my world they don't exist anymore. Sheamus comes out, but he falls victim to the numbers game. And that's when Rey Mysterio comes out to even the odds. And we get a good old-fashioned Teddy Long special, a 6-man tag team match of John Cena, Sheamus, and Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, and JD McDonough. And this match was good. I mean, it was a throwback to 2010. When you look at John, Rey, and Sheamus, the match went 14 minutes and 45 seconds for John Cena's final match. It was well done by all, just a solid technical, well, I should say not technical, but solid psychologically driven match with the typical hot tags, the The heel's getting their heat, but John's going to win, and he did. Yes, we got the triple knuckle shuffle. We got the double 619, and Cena hit McDonough with an AA and pinned him. So there's a trivia question for you maybe down the line. Who did John Cena pin in his final Raw appearance? The answer? J.D. McDonough. So there, keep that in your back pocket when it comes to trivia night, wherever your local trivia is held. So, but after the match, the babyfaces went to the stage and played for the fans, and he said, "Thank you." Now, here is where, and I'll say that I get a lot of my reviews from Pro Wrestling Net. Great team over there. I'm going to give them a plug for free. I love all of their commentary. Jason does a great job. I have no affiliation with them at all. I don't communicate with them at all. I just want to put that out there, but I just want to give you a little bit of a pretext here, because in the review of this segment, it was said, quote, and this is from Jason Powell, who again, I think is an excellent commentator, smarter than I am when it comes to wrestling, but I would like to comment on what he said. So he said, "I'm so sick and tired of WWE shoving Cena down our throats. Why not give Dom a win to put heat on him going into Survivor Series? Yes, I'm kidding, of course. Cena got the feel-good win in his final Raw match. This was a crowd pleaser. I'm a little surprised they didn't save this match for the main event because it would have closed the show on a high note, but we'll see what they go with instead." So I agree with this in terms of his idea that they should have maybe said this is the main event, but when you didn't get this for the main event, you kind of knew they had a bigger plan in mind. See, that's a massive clue that I want everyone to remind themselves of whenever you think you have in your mind a big return, a big turn, a big comeback in your mind. Those are almost always saved for the final main event spot. And if a match occurs earlier in the night than you expect, that match will likely not have any big returns. It'll be status quo of who you think's going to win, run of the mill. Maybe every now and then there's an exception to this rule, but you knew when John Cena had that match right away and it wasn't the main event, they had something bigger planned for the main event, and boy did they. So, and I think it was also the right call, because this match had nothing to do with Survivor Series. This match was all about just John Cena having his final moment in the ring and having 5 other guys he could work with. And the final segment, as we'll talk about in detail a little bit later, was very much building to the PLE, because the show must go on. And it must go on no matter who leaves. The biggest stars in the world have left wrestling, and wrestling has continued. So, I'm glad they didn't make this the main event. It would have made no sense over, of course, what we saw in the main event of Monday Night Raw. Okay, let's move on. We had Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis backstage bickering, and Paul Heyman comes in and said that if his pick of Drew McIntyre pissed them off, wait until they see what he had in store for them. Heyman handed Pearce a contract folder and laughed as he exited the room. Pearce and Aldis were not pleased when they looked at the contract, so you knew it was obviously even a bigger name than Drew McIntyre. So, okay. We then have, of course, in the crowd, comedian Eric Andre, whoever the hell that is. I don't know who Ashley Cook is. I don't know who any of these Philadelphia Eagle players are. I don't know who Cooper DeJean is. I don't know any of them. Although I am a New York Giants fan, so I did know Cam Scattaboo, who's injured. But I didn't know who Andrew Schultz. I don't know who any of that is. I see these people now, and I'm just so disconnected from what the current crop of, comedians or, musicians are. I'm so disconnected from all of that. So outside of Cam Scattaboo, no idea. Zero. All right. So we have Stephanie Vaquer, who came out on stage, held up her title. This is where things for me go south. Nikki comes out and attacks Vaquer with running her into the LED screen. And Nikki then proceeds to have a prolonged promo. And I don't mean prolonged in that it was 10 minutes, but prolonged in the sense that what she did to Vicaire did not warrant how long she was able to speak. Because what she did was she slammed her into the LED screen, which in any typical match would have been a 3-second sell. And then, Stephanie Vicaire would have had a comeback. She would have slammed Nikki Bella. I mean, like, it would have been a non-factor in a match. But when it happens, in this case, Stephanie Vicaire just doesn't know what to do. I mean, she's just sitting there listening, looking up at Nikki Bella talking. It was a horrible look. Now, what Nikki said was that she didn't come back to WWE to watch from the sidelines or be her sidekick. And Nikki thanked Vicaire for reminding her who she is. Nikki said Vicaire will give her a title shot and bow down to her, the woman who changed the entire industry. Comprende, mamacita, before dropping the belt on her. Now, I don't really know. I'd love to. I bet you on some level, Nikki Bella actually believes this, that she is, some kind of trailblazer, as I've talked about in months past. And she kind of pulled a little bit here from Charlotte saying she'll bow down. She probably should have stayed away from that, but she didn't change anything. I mean, she didn't change any industry. The wrestling would have been exactly the same without her or her sister. I don't believe that the Bellas added any value to women's wrestling at all. In fact, as I've said, I think that they actually detracted from it more than they added. I mean, they're a brand because they're twins and they're attractive twins, and that's kind of their gig. Now, Nikki Bella, to her credit, has improved in the ring and has certainly, she hasn't come back and embarrassed herself in the ring, but she looks like a 45-year-old woman trying to still play a 21-year-old's role with her outfit and her gimmick and everything else. It's like she hasn't matured at all. So, I mean, that's part of why I don't like her, on top of just like generally as a person. I've talked about that many times. Okay, blah, blah, blah. I won't rehash it. Just as a person, she's incredibly unlikable as a human being from like a real perspective. And I don't like to hit that hard sometimes. I mean, I'm just calling it like it is. But listen, when she did this to Stephanie, I don't know who booked this segment. The content actually is not the problem I had. She can call herself a trailblazer, call herself a game changer. She changed the industry, which of course is just totally nonsense. But maybe that's the point, since she's a heel. But the point, what made this segment so bad, beyond all that, which again isn't terrible in and of itself, is the fact that Stephanie Vicaire had to sell a single shot from the LED board, which didn't even look that brutal. That again would have been a single, just non-factor spot in any match they were having. She had to like sit there and just, you can see her looking up at Nikki Bella after she did that. She's talking down to her, holding her by her hair. And it's as if some invisible force is holding Stephanie Vicaire down, that she's not able to retaliate. And she has to just watch and look up and go, okay, Nikki. Okay. Yeah. I understand. You know what I mean? It looks so horrible. That's the problem I had. I mean, if she should have put much more of a beating on Stephanie, not a single move. I mean, come out with a chair, do a couple of shots at least through the LED board. It was a mismanaged segment that I'm actually not going to blame Nikki if she was told to just do one, but whoever thought this through, I mean, it's just not logical at all. And it made Nikki, or rather even more so Stephanie Vicaire, look horrible, look weak, because she is willingly just sitting there like a subservient little, looking up at her. And look at that. Yes. Pro Wrestling Net does also concur with that. It said Nikki's mic work was flat, and it looks silly that Vicaire had to stay down and listen rather than fight back. I mean, yeah, it looked horrible. Okay. So let's move on. Again, most of this show was really good. We had Solo Sikoa come out. Yes, we had some Bailey stuff. I'm not going to go through every little thing. It was really kind of a non-factor for the night. But we had Solo Sikoa with Tala Tonga take on his mystery opponent of I'm here to show the world, Dolph Ziggler. in a last time is now tournament opening round match. Now, this was fun. I didn't expect it. Certainly a bigger name, I think, than Matt Cardona or Dolph or Zack Ryder. Dolph Ziggler, I think, is infinitely better than Zack Ryder is in the ring. We all know how good Dolph is in the ring. We've heard it. Management said it. Dolph is probably tired of hearing it. Honestly, Nick Nemeth is tired of hearing it because it hasn't resulted in where he probably should have ended up in WWE, which is a long run with the world title, not just that single cash in. That was certainly shocking. I believe it was against Alberto Del Rio a decade ago at more than a decade ago on the Raw after WrestleMania, which probably defined his entire career, or at least is one of the most defining moments of his career. But the crowd loved it. He got a big pop. But any of these guys you see that come in with these mystery opponents that they're bringing in from TNA, which WWE has a relationship with, they are going to be there to lose. They're there for a pop. They're there for a quick rating spike, quick, social media blip, and then they're gone. And that's fine. I don't have any issue with it. It's fun to have mystery opponents every now and then. These mystery opponents, I think so far have missed and then hit. For me, it was a miss with Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder, because I don't understand the excitement around him. But Nick Nemeth, i.e. Dolph Ziggler, was worthy of the pop and worthy of the mystery opponent tag. Despite the fact that we all thought it could be Edge or Chris Jericho, which are still at the top of all of our lists and still could be there at the end of the day to face John Cena. It certainly, I think, warranted the mystery opponent match for Dolph Ziggler to be that guy, be the payoff. All right, well, let's continue here with the match. The match did go 8 minutes and 50 seconds with Solo beating him after he hit him with a Samoan spike. But Ziggler got his super kick, and he had his usual great in-ring wrestling that he does. He hit the zigzag, and which of course is going to be a near fall. Just great. I mean, it was just a fun appearance, throwback for Dolph Ziggler. And we'll see you. We'll see you again sometime, Dolph. All right. A Javon Evans video package aired, and then Barrett hyped Evans versus Gunther later in the show, and we had Alexa Bliss shown walking backstage, and we then had Alexa Bliss standing in the ring, and she told the crowd to let her tell her how her weekend was. She said Charlotte Flair ignored all of her messages, even though she saw the Instagram videos of Flair in New York City. She looked into the camera and addressed Flair, which was really effective. She said they could regain the WWE Women's Tag Team titles, but she had an issue with trust. Bliss said she had got her ass kicked when Flair walked out on her because she doesn't like Rhea Ripley, and Bliss called Flair her best friend, and she'd gone through hell and back for her. And that's when Asuka's music played. She walked out with her Survivor Series teammates Kairi Sane, Nia Jackson, Lash Legend, and Jax mocked Bliss for being alone, and then said that what was about to happen would be fun. And they all surrounded Bliss while standing on the apron. Rhea Ripley comes out, and Io Sky comes to the ring and joined Bliss, and then the heels had the numbers advantage as they entered the ring and got the better of the babyface trio. Jackson Legend put Bliss down in the corner of the ring, and that's when Charlotte Flair runs out with a kendo stick, hits Jackson Legend quite a few times, and then looked down at Bliss and helped her to her feet, and a "She's Your Best Friend" chant broke out, and Flair and Bliss looked over at Ripley and Sky, who hugged, and so I wish that there was a little bit longer of a payoff here rather than Charlotte immediately, like just instantly rejoining here. There should have been a multi-show kind of absence for Flair where, you didn't know what she was going to do, or maybe she shows up and she's still hesitant, something like that. I mean, instead it was just like, I don't trust you. Oh, never mind. I do. Like 3 seconds later. I don't agree, or I do agree with the psychology there. It feels like there's at least a week missing here where the build for Charlotte to come back and help would have been at a higher pitch instead of just instantly switching her a few days later. That's just my personal preference. I think it happened too quickly. But it eventually happened, and yes, we still could have a Charlotte Flair heel turn. I don't want one. You don't want one. She's got something great going with Bliss. You don't need to mess with it. It's very rare we have any kind of sustained Charlotte Flair babyface run, much less one that's actually successful and actually the fans can gravitate to. There's been several attempts with Flair as a babyface that have been largely failures. This one is the most organic by far. I don't see any need to have Charlotte actually turn on Bliss or anybody. Just have the damn match, for God's sakes. And one little thing about the War Games match itself, and you'll hear this from me again because it can't go unsaid, and it shouldn't go just said once either. The War Games match, I know everybody loves generally, and this year it's shaping up to be massive with the star power involved in really both matches for the men and women. But the fact that the match doesn't quote unquote start until all of the competitors are in the ring and that there's some kind of quote unquote advantage for a team that I'm sure will be played out in maybe next week because that person has a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1. They always have an extra man or woman advantage, for that period of time until that person's teammate comes out. There is no advantage, and it's impossibly stupid that the match doesn't start until everyone's in the ring. Because here's what happens. First of all, you can't. Why even battle? You can't eliminate anybody until the match is actually started. And by the time the match actually starts, that everyone's going to be on their feet. They've already seen a bunch of destruction. They've already probably seen a couple of finishers. They've seen people go into the cage and all the rest. And everybody at the end, when the bell rings, is standing opposed perfectly to compete with one another. So the advantage meant nothing. And why even fight before the match? Because you're telling me the match doesn't start yet. You have to adhere to match rules. How does that work? If the match hasn't actually started, then why is there a referee out there? And also, why do you have to be contained in these cells and in these cages? If there's no match, you don't have to adhere to any rules because the match hasn't started. You see what I mean? And no, I don't want to hear I'm thinking too much about this. No, this is just a basic loophole that is just, I can't overlook it. Now, also watch the War Games matches are fun in their own respect. But that has been one big loophole that I'm just like, what? All right. As you can tell, my voice is not completely back. I'm having to pause a lot and cough. I'm getting there. I don't know what the hell I had. All right. So, again, the what chance, I just don't care. I don't care enough. I want the what chance to be gone as much as you do. But it's silly. It's just silliness. It's garbage when it comes to just, the idea that the women are disproportionately affected by the what chance. Evidence, please. And even if there is, who cares? Like, I mean, not everything is going to be equally distributed. Not every good and bad thing is going to be equally distributed. That's how life works. That's how this reality in 3-dimensional time and space works. Yeah. So, I mean, what a moron. Okay. So we then have, let's see here, the broadcast team hype a men's War Games face-off between Cody, Punk, Jay, Jimmy, and their opponents, Breaker, Bronson Reed, Drew McIntyre, and Logan Paul. And they also announced Stephanie Vaquera versus Nikki Bella for the Women's World Championship and John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship for Survivor Series. Okay, so there you go. As I just said, I actually missed this part of the broadcast team. I must have been, doing something. But the John Cena matchup for the Intercontinental Championship, you can almost guarantee that John Cena is going to drop the belt back to Dom. And that's fine. That'll be fine. So I was thinking to myself, John's not doing much for Survivor Series. Well, no, he is. And I think Dominic Mysterio should win here. And there's just no point because the person that John faces at December 13th's final match at Saturday night's main event, the Intercontinental title shouldn't be on the line. He shouldn't be on the line because instantly John Cena is not going to win that match if it is. And like a little bit of surprise if he is or isn't. All right. A clip of Tom Rinaldi's interview with John Cena where he spoke about being in front of a polarized audience. He said he's happy he didn't get lost in it because he needed to be authentic. He said he's gone along with things in the past and they were great learning experiences. All right. Yeah, sure. I mean, and if you look at John Cena's X account, I mean, he must be using AI to just generate these just inspirational life quotes every day. It's kind of, you talk about phony. I mean, really? I'm sorry. I'm not trying to hate on John Cena, but there's a part of me that looks at him and I go, this dude's, I do see some phoniness in him. And he's concealed it very well by being one of the best talkers WWE's ever had. But there's something about him, man, that I find very inauthentic while he claims to be authentic. And especially when he's giving formal interviews, or if you see him and did see him on like the Bellas show. Remember he had the house rules, the infamous house rules and all that. I have issue with it. I take issue with the two versions of John that I see. That's not taking away anything that he's done in the ring, which cannot be matched again. But as a human being outside of the ring, when the lights are off, feel like this dude's a different guy. I just get that vibe, but I could be wrong. Okay, Becky Lynch versus Maxine Dupree for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. This went 10 minutes, and here we go. Some fun. The match was decent, pretty good. I mean, you have Becky Lynch who can help guide Maxine through the match, and the finish was Lynch catching Dupree in an armbar. She eventually escaped and put Lynch in an ankle lock. Dupree wrapped her legs around Lynch's legs while maintaining the hold, and then Lynch stood up and leaned back on Dupree, who had to release the hold to avoid being pinned, and then Lynch got a 2 count, bicker with the referee, almost got in a fight with the referee, Jessica Carr, and then Lynch started to remove the turnbuckle, and AJ Lee music hit, and the crowd went crazy. She skipped to ringside, distracted Lynch, and turned around for Dupree, jumping off the rope and hitting her with a crossbody block to get the 3 count. And Maxine Dupree is your new Women's Intercontinental Champion. The crowd loved it. She hugged AJ Lee. Everybody was happy. And it was a fun moment. I mean, one that you kind of knew that Maxine was going to win. You didn't know if AJ was going to be there. There were rumors of her being there, rumors of sightings of her. Anything's possible, of course, when you get to Madison Square Garden. All bets are off. And we got an AJ Lee appearance who didn't show up, hasn't been seen on WWE television since WrestlePalooza. So it's good to see, excuse me, a AJ Lee appearance, because we weren't sure if we'd see her again based on whatever the contract she signed says. Obviously, it's very limited number of dates. I like that. I'm a big fan of that. Big reaction for AJ. I would imagine this is going to lead to a AJ Lee, Becky Lynch one-on-one program. No Punk, obviously no Rollins because of his injury, but it's just the women. And it's going to be fun. The promos are going to be fun when they get to a one-on-one here. All right, let's move on to Gunther taking on Javon Evans in a Last Time Is Now tournament opening round match. Now, Evans' entrance was not televised, which did surprise me as well. I wish it was, because, I mean, why not? You're trying to give this guy exposure. You might as well give him exposure. The match went 15 minutes. Javon Evans had a hell of a night here. I mean, you're in there with one of the best in the world right now, in my mind, of Gunther. But Javon Evans in his own right, if you've never seen him before, and this is one of the few times I've seen him, I mean, this dude can go. There's a lot of people that believe he is the future of the industry. He's got the look. He's got the in-ring. He's young. I think there is some merit to that claim. But, I mean, one match doesn't make or break a guy in this case. But he's, I mean, clearly having the biggest match of his career with Gunther. And Gunther does beat Evans in 15 minutes to advance. But the finish is this. Gunther suplexes Evans, power bombs him. Evans kicks out of the pin attempt. Gunther threw elbows and put him in a sleeper. Evans came within inches of reaching the ropes, but Gunther pulled him back to the middle of the ring and forced him to submit. This was a great introduction for somebody from NXT coming up to the main roster. If this is truly his debut on the main roster, we've seen many times where it's not really the debut. It's kind of a feeling out process. It's like, oh, you're here, then you're back, then you're here, then you're back. Like Ciampa did that. Joe Hendry I know that he's signed with WWE officially, but he's kind of come and gone and come and gone. So I don't know if this is truly Javon Evans's real debut. I don't think so, but nonetheless, it at least gave him exposure in the biggest stage in the world on a Raw that is viewed by millions of people in the ring with one of the best in the world. A great debut in a lot of ways for a lot of people that have never seen him before. So good stuff here. Okay. We then had backstage Maxine and AJ walking, and Dupree said the hard work paid off and said she feels like she finally belongs, and credited Lee, who said she just put a bully in her place. Otis and Akira Tozawa showed up and celebrate with her as they all exit. And Redmond asks Lee if she was going to be sticking around. Her answer was, quote, "I'm hoping the answer is yes." Redmond said, and Lee said she came back to help out her husband, but Becky Lynch lit a fire in her that she forgot she had. She said, "So who knows?" Rhea Ripley approached Lee and asked if she had a second to talk. So there you go. Clearly, War Games. Ripley is going to recruit AJ, and the other side is going to recruit Lynch. So good. Yeah, I mean, she said, who knows? I think it's she knows. Of course they know. WWE knows. They have, I would imagine, plans moving forward, especially as we're kind of just starting to look at the WrestleMania card now and start to formulate things in our mind. AJ Lee is going to certainly be part of the probably War Games Rumble Mania at the bare minimum. And who knows what else in between. How can you not? So I think that's kind of like, yeah, you're going to see me, but it's going to be here and there. That's how I read this. And that's a more realistic and I think a better schedule. I don't want AJ Lee every week. I don't. Because as good as she is and as magnetic as her personality is, I don't want her every week. She's a special attraction. Not that she can't go, but I don't know. I'm a big fan of, just kind of making things special when you're not there every week. So we continue here, and we have Drew McIntyre with the Vision coming out of the break, and Heyman introduced himself. And Heyman said he'd walked with the Samoan SWAT team, the Freebirds, the Dangerous Alliance, wow, that's way back, and the Bloodline to the ring for War Games matches. He said the team in the ring was, quote, the greatest assembly of talent ever put together for War Games. Punk comes out, and Jey Uso comes out, Jimmy, of course, Cody Rhodes comes out, and the babyfaces got the better of the fight here. And Punk was left standing tall, signaling for a GTS. And that's when Brock Lesnar's music hit, comes to the ring. He starts just suplexing as he does. And Cody comes in. He gets suplexed too. And Roman Reigns comes out, join Lesnar in the ring. And Lesnar starts to back into the ropes to swing at Reigns. He ducks it. He gets then hit with a Superman punch. And security comes in the ring to keep Reigns calm. Reed attacks Reigns from behind. Reed went up to the top for his finish, but Reigns recovered, knocked Reed off the ropes. He was Superman punch happy last night. And Reigns went to the floor, but the quote, NYPD blocked his path. Punk choked Paul with a kendo stick and right in front of the police, which was really funny. Reigns ran around some of the police and speared Reigns and two cops through the barricade into the timekeeper's area to close the show. Really good show here. Now, was the costumes that these men who clearly went to Spirit maybe a shutdown Spirit Halloween with whatever was left over from Halloween, Their police outfits, did they look convincing? No, it was horrible. I mean, you look at that, just you can't look past their costumes. I mean, they were just bad. I mean, the thing is, we've seen police get involved before. Actually, police departments from the local city or town be involved. I mean, Albany, New York, which held one of the more infamous Stone Cold Steve Austin returns to the ring of all time. And this is just one of many examples. But I'm talking about how they do use real police from time to time. When Stone Cold was coming back for the first time to the ring at No Mercy in 2000 to face Rikishi, who admitted he was the one who ran over Stone Cold, you had Austin try to run down Rikishi, and the Albany Police Department intercepted Austin's truck after he was about to commit, vehicular homicide. And it was the real police department who then put Austin in cuffs. I mean, real police have been used many times throughout the years. These were not convincing police officers. Now, is that the most important part of this entire night, important part of this segment? No, but it needs to be pointed out. However, Reigns spearing, Logan Paul getting choked out in front of the police was hilarious. You have Brock Lesnar back, seemingly still in good spirits and good standing with Paul Heyman. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar clearly leading on opposing sides here for War Games. It's a hell of a War Games match shaping up. I mean, you have star after star after star. And tomorrow's stars too. Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, CM Punk, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes. It is maybe the biggest in terms of star power War Games match. I mean, Paul Heyman may be right, but that goes for both sides. It was a hell of a show. Now, is Roman Reigns going to be, quote unquote, jailed for accidentally spearing a police officer through the barricade? He might be. Maybe that's part of the story. Next week, if you're in Oklahoma City, I think it's Oklahoma City. I could be totally wrong. I know it's in Oklahoma somewhere, but maybe that's the reason that they give for Roman not showing up, is that he had to make bail, and that the local police department in New York City had to, they jailed Roman Reigns for a short period of time or something because of his incidental attack on a police officer who was just kind of just collateral damage in that spot. And I say police officer very, very lightly and with heavy air quotes. So that could be, just keep that in mind if you're attending Raw or if you're just watching at home next week. So hell of a Raw, guys. I mean, you can't ask for much more than that. That is about as good of a show of Raw, as star-studded of a Raw as you can probably just even fantasy create in reality. I'm not talking about bringing people back from the dead, and I'm talking about today's stars, currently who's signed, who you could bring back. It is almost as big as you could possibly make it. They went all out for this. It felt like a PLE. And you don't say that about Raws very often. You do not. So I enjoyed this generally, like most of us did. I thought it delivered on a lot of levels, not just star power, but storyline wise. It brought a lot of people into the fold for Survivor Series that you can now look forward to. The War Games matches obviously are at front and center, but you also had Becky Lynch and Maxine Dupree. Maxine wins. You have Dom and John Cena now for officially for the Intercontinental title at Survivor Series, where inevitably, of course, as I said, John Cena's going to drop the belt, but who cares? So it's going to be fun. Now, if you want more that non-wrestling stuff that I talk about, check out The War on Truth. It's called The War on Truth. The logo is an American flag. Can't miss it. The War on Truth is a podcast I do that I'm trying to get. I just dropped an episode yesterday. I'm going to try to do a little bit more, but you can also go to Patreon if you want to, just like this show. Go to patreon.com/warontruth and check us out if you want to go ad free there. But it's a not wrestling show. I'll just leave it at that. So if you care about that, cool. If you don't, then obviously don't listen. But I'd encourage you, if you do, just throwing it out there as a suggestion. If you do want to check it out, because I know there's some of you who just, you love wrestling, but there are other things that you like to do as well and listen to and are interested in as well. And it is a little bit politically based, culture based, which is, it's called The War on Truth. So check it out, everybody, if you're interested, but also follow us on X. We may be able to be changing our X name. I'll keep you in touch on that. My X username is wrestling_audio, but we might be able to be claiming. There's a new program on X where you can claim unused handles, and I might be able to be getting the WWE podcast. Like, just that's the username and the name. Sometimes you're not able to sync both of those up. I might have been able to snag it. I'll keep you in touch on that. But if not, again, follow us on Patreon, patreon.com/WWE podcast. Thank you, everybody. I'll be back shortly with maybe some more stuff, some retro stuff. I know a lot of you enjoy that from yesteryear and my conversations with previous co-hosts. So stay tuned for that. Of course, next week's going to be huge with Survivor Series War Games. Yes, it is Thanksgiving as well, but that means a lot more work for me because then it's not only Thanksgiving, but extra shows with reviews and previews and all the rest of it. But stay tuned. Thank you, everybody. We'll talk soon.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.